I'll say this, I was absolutely wrong to some degree about this version of the U.S. men's basketball team. As when you looked at them in the exhibitions against Australia and Nigeria, when you looked at them in the opening of pool play against France, this team looked like they were a hot mess. It looked like we had sent over the C or D version of the best of what we could. And it looked like America would be lucky to even get a bronze medal, let alone make it to the gold medal game, let alone win the gold medal. And clearly I was wrong in the sense that at the end of the day, the U.S. men's team found a way to get it done. They ended up winning the gold medal in skip-de-skip and whoop-de-woo. Thank the Lord. But we shouldn't exactly go out celebrating this too much. We shouldn't exactly look at this as some incredibly glorious achievement or performance because it was anything but that. And you could certainly argue in some way that my initial statement at the beginning of the Olympics wasn't that incredibly off base, that this team was going to be lucky to win a bronze medal. As you look back at the semifinal round, they were down double digits in the first half to Australia of all damn teams. And then even in the gold medal game against France, what a nightmare that was. Had a couple of different runs where they had large double-digit leads only to see them piss it away. And, France was stubborn. They kept fighting. And if they had one more score, it probably is an entirely different conversation. What a sad state of U.S. men's basketball we're in, where they're not beating teams by 20 or 30 points anymore. They're beating them by 5 points, 10 points, and you feel like they escaped. And even watching this gold medal game against France, it feels less like some triumphant stamp of signature dominance of how America's game is basketball and we dominate that bitch up in these parts. And expansion and growth of the game, my ass. We still got the biggest, the baddest, and the best players in the world. You can't really hold your chest out, puff your chest out, and beat on it and say, ugga, ugga, we the best. Because it barely's true. Barely. Especially watching that gold medal game. Thank God for Kevin Durant, huh? Certainly earns that Captain America nickname. His third gold medal. He's the all-time leading scorer in American men's Olympic basketball history. And once again, in a big spot in the gold medal game, he dominated. He delivered 29 points. He was the unquestioned man. And it was always my thought heading into this Olympics that the one shot that they had to win the gold is that they had arguably the best player on the planet right now in Kevin Durant being that dude, being that alpha. And that's exactly the way it played out. And it's almost like, in some ways, Kevin Durant had to overcome the stupidity of Greg Popovich. And I know this is going to seem like religious shit to some of you to sit there and blast a guy that's won 5 NBA championships and now an Olympic gold medal, but the reality is Popovich did many questionable things, I think, throughout this entire Olympic run, and most certainly in that gold medal game. Because you could look at that gold medal game and say, this American team should have blown them out by 20 to 30 points. I don't think that's crazy to say. While the French team had a bunch of NBA players, it's a lot of NBA role players, and Gobert, and Fournier, and Batum. Solid players. Gobert's all-star, defensive player of the year, blah, 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 blah. But, come on, give me a break. Compared against the Americans, shouldn't even be close. But the NBA style of basketball does not translate very well to FIBA. We clearly see that. They're not going to give you the calls as easily. They actually have some post-play in the Olympics. It's a whole different ballgame, and America was really lucky to be able to overcome all of that. Because the NBA style of play absolutely does not translate. And when I said, you talk about the French team, if they had one more legitimate perimeter score, they might have beat the Americans by double digits. Seriously. And what was fascinating to me in all of this, as you got into the gold medal game, to me it came down to a battle of how each team used their size advantage. Each team had one. For the U.S. team, it was the size advantage of Durant and Tatum on the perimeter and how the French couldn't defend them. Versus the French team with Gobert and Fall, so forth, like that size advantage that they had down low, which team would better utilize their size advantage? And early on, it certainly was the Americans with Durant and Tatum. And yet, for some particular reason that is lost to me, every time Tatum seemed to really get going and really get hot, Popovich's dumbass would be benching him. And even when you come out of halftime, you're only up by a couple of points. And he's still trying to trot out Damian Lillard and Devin Booker. And in the first half, those guys hadn't done shit. And you're going to say, well, Dame did a little bit of something in the second half, but it wasn't much. Like at that point in time, you got to go with the lineup, go with the guys that make the most sense, go with the hot hands, go with the guys that are going to take you to the finish line. And on that night, it was going to be Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. It wasn't going to be fucking Devin Booker. I don't know what the hell was wrong with Pop. Like, just because somebody's won a bunch of championships, just because somebody's coached the ultimately gold medal team, does not make them immune from criticism. You could have greatness, you could be a Hall of Famer, and still really screw up at times. And if you watch that gold medal game, and you come away from that game questioning why anybody would question some of the decisions of Craig Popovich, then you must be some type of, what do the kids say nowadays? Casual. Because what the hell game were you watching? He's sitting there trotting out Devin Booker, for Christ's sakes, in key moments in time, a couple of minutes left. He's putting Jason Tatum on the effing bench. What the hell is wrong with you? You had two guys offensively that the French team could not defend. That was Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. It's not that fucking hard. If losers like me and other losers like me watching at home and talking about it on the interwebs can sit there and understand, oh, they can't guard Kevin Durant. They can't guard Jason Tatum. Run the offense through them, and you'll cruise to the gold medal. His dumbass went in the opposite direction. Unbelievable. This absolutely should have been a 20 to 30 point wipeout. Because when you watch that French team, like they got exposed a little bit in the second half, and I think throughout the gold medal game of that, they really had trouble when the U.S. would use their length and athleticism advantage defensively on the perimeter. Like, the French really had trouble getting into their offense, and it was heavily reliant upon feeding the ball down low, and when that didn't happen, their offense kind of crumbled. But thank God we had Kevin Durant, huh? And look, you could say whatever you want about Kevin Durant in terms of the NBA stuff. Taking the punk-ass way out. You can't beat him, join him when he went to the Warriors. And he does. He always deserved criticism for that, because it was the ultimate bitch-ass, punk-ass move. Totally within his power to do so. Nothing illegal about doing it. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He made the most of it, won a couple of rings there. Hard to begrudge him for that. But it's still ultimately a punk-ass move. Arguably worse than what LeBron did. And I don't even think it's arguably. Because while LeBron had the decision and he went down to South Beach to play on Wade's team and to bring Chris Bosh along with him, at least it wasn't a matter of the Cavs couldn't beat the Heat in the playoffs, so he sat there and decided to join the Heat. Here, it was, I've got a 3-1 lead on OKC. I'll just blame Westbrook like he was the only problem. He's a major problem, but he wasn't the only one. You were up 3-1 on the Warriors. You pissed that lead away, so you go and join them. That's the ultimate punk-ass move. But when it comes to Olympics basketball, Kevin Durant, it is an entirely different story, and we will not slander this man in that respect in any way, shape, or form. He is absolutely Captain America, the Slim Reaper. He is absolutely the sole exclusive primary reason why the U.S. men's national basketball team won the gold medal in Tokyo. Period. He was the alpha. He was the clear top dog. He was the clear dude. The head MFer in charge. And if this American team did not have somebody like a Kevin Durant, it would have been curtains. Which begs the interesting question in 3 years. When you got LeBron damn near pushing 40, KD's going to be another 3 years older. Is he really going to want to play? Steph Curry 3 years from now, is he going to really want to play? Like, who's that alpha going to be? Who's that guy that could kind of take Kevin Durant's mantle and say, you know what? Carry us to Olympic glory in 2024 in Paris? I don't know. But what we saw out of Kevin Durant in this Olympics, like, this is the type of thing that It doesn't take away everything in terms of the criticism for some of the decisions he's made in terms of his NBA career, but it certainly doesn't hurt his legacy. It certainly doesn't hurt the way he's perceived. Because you always talk about, yeah, he did this, but damn it all, he helped America maintain its position atop the basketball world. He brought home another gold for the old US of A. Hard to criticize him in that respect for that. Much easier to criticize Greg Popovich for his dumbass coaching in this gold medal game, taking a game that should have been won by 20 or 30 and making it a nail-biter to the very fucking end. Like, you could also wonder, like, apparently Evan Fournier late in the game, like, he must have Googled his own last name. Look it up. No, don't look it up, but look it up. Kind of those things. Because I don't know what the hell type of bullshit three he jacked up from damn near half court. I don't know what the hell that was. But that's my point, is this game where the French should have been blown out, they weren't. And it took something like that to even kind of ice the game and salt it away. Kind of sad when you think about it. So yes, it's cool that the American team ultimately won the gold medal. It's almost become an entitlement. It should be an entitlement because basketball is supposed to be America's game. F the rest of the world. You could talk about, oh, they've caught up athletically. Yes, there are lots of NBA players that come from these different countries and so forth. But it's not about the talent level. It's about the execution. It's about the style of play in FIBA that is entirely different. That really causes the American team problems. Like, you look at the French coach. How in the hell could he not have an NBA job someday? Because you could actually see he can legitimately coach. In the Olympics, Popovich at times looked incredibly idiotic. Overmanned, overmatched, and all of that. And I can't believe anybody would assert that anything other than that is true. Point being is, it feels like an unsatisfactory gold medal. And it really feels like you're looking, without any major changes, that in 3 years' time, the Americans will indeed be lucky to win a bronze medal if we keep it up at this pace, especially if you don't have a true alpha on that team. Thank God they had Kevin Durant here. Because Greg Popovich seemed to be convinced and consumed with not allowing Jason Tatum to fully go off in the gold medal game. Every time he gets some momentum, I gotta put fucking Devin Booker in because I'm a dumb dick. Thank God we have Kevin Durant to overcome this team's Popovich handicap. Because if he didn't, you'd be talking about a silver medal and a waste, not a gold. At least they got revenge on the French. Stupid French. We'll see how it goes in 3 years, though, when France is the host of the Olympics and they'll be the home team. Might be an entirely different environment there. And what I saw in this gold medal game, yeah, we should be concerned about the future of USA basketball.